What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you week 10 of the PTL, or the Pokemon Tri League. This week we are taking on Ange and her Maine Absols. So this is an interesting matchup. Um, Despite Ange's record, this matchup is not even close to in my favor. This is a very scary matchup for me. Things like Moltres, Kingdra put on so much pressure against my team, and I have no Mega Gallade answers at all. I was very worried about it in prep, and it's just such a big issue, man. Gengar, same thing. Like, essentially, I just didn't have defensive answers to anything on her team, and if you check out the team builder, which you should go check it out right now. Um, if you haven't checked it out, then I'll run through my team quickly in a second, but let's run through her team then. Mega Gallade, Garchomp Z, Starmie, Gengar Z, Rotom-Mow, Moltres, Bisharp, Pelipper, Kingdra, Smeargle, why not? Smeargle, Mawile, and why not? Only things I was not expecting was the Smeargle, Mawile, and the why not. I didn't see any reason for her to possibly bring webs against me. It didn't make any sense. And I figured if she was going to bring webs, then my Trick Room mode was just going to be even better. And yeah, Speed Pass against Trick Room mode is worthless, so I didn't care about that. Mawile just didn't look like it had the matchup to me. I have dual fighting, and Mawile is neutral to it, and Darmanitan kind of just blows through it. Only thing I could see Mawile coming for was maybe as like a Mimikyu answer, potentially a Megalodios answer. Like, it had some niche areas where it could come. It is her fairy, and I didn't bring Scrafty because Scrafty had a poor matchup, but there you go there. And why not? I mean, it's a trapper, but like, does it do anything? Not really. It's the same as Wobbuffet, just weaker, but it has no Violate, so I don't know. Kind of just like blew through it with Megalodion. Like, pretty much everything on the team just kind of beat why not 1v1, so I wasn't super concerned about it. Yeah, so that's what's there. Moltres, Bisharp, and Kingdra didn't come. I prepped a little bit harder for Moltres than I needed to, I think. I didn't prep at all for Bisharp, so I'm glad that it didn't come. And Kingdra, I prepped for with Trick Room in general. But Trick Room still looks good this matchup, so there you go. If you haven't seen the team builder, like I said, you should check it out. We're bringing 3-attacks Thunder Wave, Megalodios. Really regretting not bringing Roost post-game, and you'll see why. Draco, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, and T-Wave. Zapdos is Discharge, Volt Switch, HP Ice, and Roost, so no removal option this week. Mimikyu is Trick Room, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance, and Play Rough. Kind of regretting the Swords Dance. I don't think that I needed to bring Swords Dance and Trick Room. I probably should have just brought one or the other. I am banded Wishy Washy with Waterfall, Earthquake, Waterfall, Earthquake, Facade, and what's the last move? Oh, U-Turn. U-Turn is the last move. Facade, in case I got burnt by a Scald, was the idea, or I could get Toxic or something. Then Facade kind of just like banded Facade, Wishy-Washy, and Trick Room. Man, oh my god, if I had status. Mamoswine is Earthquake, Ice Shard, Rock Slide, Rocks. And Slowking is Colberberry. Mamoswine's Pasha Berry as well. And Slowking's Colberberry with Trick Room, Slack Off, Psychic, and Surf. So that is the squad. And let's hop right into things. Zapdos is a really free lead. I don't care what she wants to lead with. Zapdos works. And I can just Volt Switch on the Rotom-Mow. We see that it's not really running a lot of speed. No, that's not true at all. What am I talking about? It could be running speed. I'm outrunning Moltres, so I'm a very speedy Zapdos. My Latios gets to come in here as the Toxic comes off, so once again I switch in on a Toxic. Super obnoxious. Yeah, really obnoxious. Psyshock's going to do over half to this thing though, so I know that that's relatively free. Volt Switch, again, doing nothing, really relatively defensive. I'm just going to go back into my Zapdos on the Garchomp because I think the Garchomp's Scarf. She switches in Pelipper, which is really bad for her, but I just get to Volt Switch with the Zapdos out on the Rotom-Mow here, which brings Latios back in. And this time I'm just going to opt to Draco, because I think Starmie might come in, which it does, and Draco's not going to do enough, and pops the Wiki Berry. So that berry is really obnoxious because it means Starmie can come in later, and Starmie outspeeds my entire team naturally, so again, super obnoxious. But my Latios gets to just switch out here, and I'm just going to go in Slowking as she fires off the Scald, pretty much doing nothing, even rain boosted, because I am relatively Spidef Slowking. I'm built with the Colberberry to take a knockoff from the Gallade, but just getting my Trick Room up here, and unfortunately with that Leftovers recovery, I can't tell if I'm going to kill this with Psychic or not, so I'm just going to go into my Zapdos. I probably should have clicked Psychic there, because Pelipper is a big problem for my team, it seems, and I need to chip this down. And unfortunately for me, she's just going to get to U-turn into the Garchomp here on my Volt Switch. It didn't matter too much. I wasn't really just going to click HP Ice on it, but now I click HP Ice on the Garchomp as she Toxics me. So this Garchomp is running speed. It's definitely running speed investment, and HP Ice is just going to two-shot this Rotom-Mow. So the toxic damage is going to keep racking up on me, but again, it's not a big deal. Obviously, she switched in on the last turn of Trick Room, and then I outsped after Trick Room expired, so that was pretty much perfect case scenario for my Zapdos against the Rotom there. Gengar is going to come in here, which is, again, it's pretty much the only thing that can come in here on this Zapdos, if I'm being honest. If she goes into Starmie, I just go right back into Slowking. If she goes into Pelipper, it dies, so there'd be no reason for that. If she goes into Gallade, then I get a big hit off, or I get to Volt Switch out on it, or I get to stay in and discharge it, or Toxic, or whatever I wanted to do. And if Garchomp comes in, we know that it's probably not Scarf, given that it has Toxic, so I can just kill it as well. This is my answer to both Garchomp and Gallade. I'm worried about this Gengar. If it specs, it's a roll to kill me with Sludge Wave, so I am going to risk it. And I Volt Switch, which turns out to be the right play as she subs, so I get to go into my Mimikyu here, which is, again, it's the only thing that's not going to do anything. Like, it's the only thing where Gengar is not going to be able to do anything. And I misplayed here by clicking Shadow Sneak. I should have clicked Trick Room this turn, I think. Or Swords Dance. Either one would have worked. Actually, Swords Dance was probably better case scenario. Because if I Swords Dance, then it's a roll for me to kill this Pelipper. +2. So now I'm in on the Pelipper trying to set up on it, and it confuses me with Hurricane. So this is pretty much the scenario that ends up being very costly later on. Hurricane's obviously doing nothing to the Zapdos, and I can sort of stall up my own Trick Room by roosting on this Pelipper. It's like best case scenario for me. Rain's obviously going to go away now, so Scald isn't really doing enough to my Zapdos, but I'm just trying to stay as healthy as possible with Zapdos against this Pelipper. And now the Trick Room's done, I can Volt Switch, as I believe she just goes into Garchomp again on my Volt Switch. Yeah, so stopping that once again, as I'm relatively weakened here. I'm just going to switch into Mamoswine. I figured I could eat a hit from the Garchomp pretty well with Mamoswine, and Ice Shard's always going to pick it off from that range. But in comes the Pelipper, so I'm going to Rock Slide it. It was supposed to do a lot more than that. It was supposed to two-shot, but she's fully physically defensive with a Charty Berry. So again, super obnoxious. I get the flinch, which is pretty lucky. It didn't matter too much, but I'm just going to set my rocks here as the Scald is going to pop my Pasho Berry. The only reason the flinch would have mattered is if I had been burnt by the Scald. Because I think my play would have still been the same, and I would have just sacked off Mamoswine to the Scald here, or I would have gone into Slowking. And I'm just going to go into Wishy-Washy now, instead of Slowking like a dummy to the Scald. Because if I get burnt, it's not a big deal, because then I can just lock myself into the Sod. Again, it doesn't really matter. I also could have got really big damage off on the Pelipper here, but I opted to just get a slow U-turn out into my Latios. Which claims a kill here with Draco. Like, nothing switches in onto a Draco with the rocks up, so Starmie is just her sack. I can understand that play, especially now that she's seen Trick Room. Starmie is really doing nothing, but Gallade gets to come in here and pretty much set up a free Sword Stance. Psyshock wasn't doing enough, and I couldn't really risk the Speed Tie there. So Mamoswine's going to come in. I do crit on the Ice Shard, but Drain Punch is going to get a lot of her HP back there. And now I'm going to opt to go into my Slowking. I figure I can get up a Trick Room relatively safely on this. I live a knockoff very easily with Colbur Berry, and so I can Trick Room and either die the next turn or get a big Psychic off on this thing. But she's got X-Scissor, which is great prep, and this Gallade is now a big problem. I figure I'll go for the Speed Tie with Latios and try and kill it with Draco, but Shadow Sneak is on the set as well, so this is a no Psychic attacking move Gallade, which is interesting. I don't know. Like, this set does pretty well against my team, but things like Scarf Darmanitan tear through this, and I was expecting... I don't know what I was expecting, but definitely not the X-Scissor. I was definitely expecting knockoff on it. I would imagine X-Scissor is there for the Tangela, mainly. Which, again, also doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because you don't really need the coverage move to hit Tangela, so knockoff would have made a million more sense to me against my team. But there you go. I don't know. Yeah, in comes my Zapdos, and I die to the crit Drain Punch. Yes, that mattered. That 100% mattered, but I get the Static Paralysis. I was going for the Para anyways. I clicked Discharge. I had clicked Discharge on this to get as much damage off as possible, And yeah, that Drain Punch crit did matter. I was 100% living a +2 Drain Punch, and X-Scissor was doing nothing, Shadow Sneak was doing nothing, so yeah, bad position for me. I have to bring in Mimikyu now to go for Trick Room, and luckily she gets fully paralyzed on the Shadow Sneak there. Not this turn, so there you go. And then Wishy-Washy's going to come in. She gets fully paralyzed again on the Shadow Sneak. And Banded Waterfall is not quite enough to pick this off. And I'm going to kill it, but I'm in schooling form now. It's looking like I could maybe kill this Pelipper, potentially, but no. I was hoping I could get at least one more kill with the Wishy-Washy, even in schooling form. I don't know the exact calc on that. Actually, let me pull it up, because I do want to know what the exact calc was on that Pelipper in baby form of Wishy-Washy. Just before I end off the video here. Wishy-Washy against Pelipper. So she was fully physically defensive, I know that for sure. In rain, Wishy-Washy school? No, Wishy-Washy. What's the base stats on this? Why is it not showing up? Okay, well I know I'm max attack brave. Wishy-Washy school. Why does it do this to me? It doesn't have the right base stats. Okay, well you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I probably wouldn't have killed anyways. But there you go. That's the game. This puts us in a really bad position because we lost 3-0 to one of the bottom of the table teams. Unfortunately for Ange, she was at the bottom of the table. She was 2-7 -20, and now she's 3-7 -19. Or sorry, not -19, -17. No, 2-7 -20. I think she's supposed to be 2-7 -19. I think I have that wrong on the screen. So -16, 3-7 -16 is still relatively poor for the standings, but unfortunately 4 losses looks like we're probably not going to make playoffs with that, which is top 2. I'm still going for the promotion spot, but we have at least 2 more very difficult matchups coming up in our last 5 weeks here. So I think best case scenario, I'm looking at a 9-6 record, which may or may not be good enough depending on my differential. I think a lot of the 1-0 wins that I took at the beginning of the season were pretty poor, and yeah. So overall, not my best game. The Trick Room strategy would have worked out, and I think if I'd played the scenario with Mimikyu versus Pelipper better, had I Swords Danced on the Gengar switching out, then I'm reasonably confident that I kill the Pelipper the turn afterwards, which is actually a calc that I should have run. Where's damage calc? There it is. Reasonably confident that I killed it with a play rough because I was Brave Life Orb, and we saw that I outslowed. Yeah. Okay, so I would not have, but the Pelipper would have been gone, and the Pelipper was such a massive problem for my team that I think just having Mimikyu in, clicking Swords Dance, attacking the Pelipper. No, hang on, the Pelipper was chipped. Okay, I need to go back and see this because I'm curious now. What was the Pelipper at? Oh, it came in. No, sorry, it came in on my Shadow Sneak. That's why it was chipped. Yeah, so it would have been at full. That's fine. It would have been at full. So +2, and then I click Play Rough, and then I either click Play Rough again, click Shadow Sneak to kill the Pelipper off with my Disguise broken. Assuming I don't get burnt. So, you know, there's a lot of scenarios that factor in there, but we did lose, and we're going to move to 6-4 +7. We take on our absolutely hardest matchup of the season next week. We take on Moki in the Golden City Gardevoirs. He is first in the division right now, which is Division 3, that is. He's first out of all of the 16 teams, and our matchup looks like garbage. So, looking forward to building for that and playing him. Not, he said very ironically. And I will catch you guys for that. Bye!